Hey, Road Trippin' fans, Homage t-shirts are as ferocious as the dunks or bangouts Richard and Channing throw down from time to time, and their softness can't even be matched. Homage has been turning back the clock with throwback tees for years. From the NBA to the Ultimate Warrior, you know, the tee that LeBron wore on the plane after leading the Cavs to its first title the city had seen in over 50 years. Well, Homage tells the stories of triumph, individualism, and hustle, preserving the old school and creating new legacies. Go to homage.com, that's Homage, and pay homage with your favorite tee. Be sure to check out the NBA Jam tees and one exclusively made for me and you. Better yet, 3 other tees designed specific to the Road Trippin' fam you'll want to check out. We're Road Trippin' at homage.com.
Start off with a nice little morning cheers.
Cheers.
Salud.
We welcome you into another edition of Road Trippin', Richard versus Channing. I'm your host, Allie Clifton. We're off on the ones and twos. I'm, as always, rolling with hashtag Team Channing.
Yep.
Right across from me. And I think for the very first time on Road Tripping, period, we have a NFL superstar, arguably future Hall of Famer, living Browns legend, Joe Thomas.
Pressure's on.
2 first names.
Yeah, you can't trust those guys. That's what my mom always said.
Joe, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good today.
Yeah?
Yeah, little chilly out there, but
You're
getting
wearing
in
a
the
short sleeve shirt.
Yeah.
I have 6 layers on.
I got a little more body fat than you, so it keeps me insulated
You
in
know
these
what?
cold
Honestly,
Cleveland winters.
I thought you'd be bigger.
Yeah.
You look way bigger with all the stuff.
Yeah, that crushed me, but thanks. I appreciate it. Thought you'd be bigger. Those arms, look at them. They're kind of small.
Yeah, listen. You think go vegan now?
No, I actually just had elbow surgery, as you can see there.
That's
So
disgusting.
I'm showing you my weak side on purpose here, so you're not too
wow.
intimidated.
Yeah.
Elbow? I thought it was a tricep tendon.
Well, the tricep attaches right there at the elbow,
okay.
so that's where they cut you open to screw it back into your
What do
elbow.
they
Educational
teach
moment.
at Toledo? This is amazing.
I was just thinking it'd be more the surgery would be.
Yeah, it was the tendon, not the muscle, so the tendon attaches down there, and usually you
There
don't
you
cut
go.
the tendon in half.
How
unless-
painful
You
was
don't?
that?
You don't do that?
No, not. It hurt, but I think it was more shocking to not be able to move your arm when you want to. More than anything, it just kind of gets in your head when you're like trying to move your arm and you just can't do it.
Yeah.
And so I think it's kind of a queasy feeling in your stomach.
Dude. Speaking of injuries, let's get right to it.
Please.
Okay, the NFL, big thing. How can people are talking about, like, how can the NFL become safer but still be the NFL where guys can actually hit each other? How can that happen? Like, where's the medium?
I wish I had a good answer because what you've seen here in the last couple decades is guys are getting continually bigger and faster and stronger.
Yeah.
And those collisions are just becoming more violent.
Yeah.
And as the game has spread out, you're getting guys that are running with bigger head starts in different directions and getting hit from all sides versus, in the old days when everyone was kind of tight, mushed together, you're just kind of mushing into each other. There wasn't a big running start. So you weren't seeing as many of these catastrophic injuries. But as the game has evolved and players have spread out all over the field, they're getting hit from all over the place by bigger and faster guys than ever before. And so you're seeing the results of that with all of these really bad injuries that we've seen on the field in the last few years, especially this season.
Damn.
You're in the thick of it all too oftentimes with your position, obviously. How much do you and maybe other players do you think guys actually think about that? You don't want to fear the game.
Yeah, you can't really think about it too much because that will prevent you from being able to do your job. You can't walk on that field with fear because it's almost like being around a dog. Your opponents will smell that, and they're going to take advantage of it.
I wrestled a dog once.
How'd that turn out?
It was good. It was a tiny little guy. He was so cute, man.
You would.
But yeah, I think for the game, I wish I had an easy answer. They're trying to take away some of those big head hits. I think maybe one thing they need to look at in the future is for defenseless receivers not allowing them to get hit below the knees. Because you've seen the target, in the old days, everyone would try to hit him in the head. When a receiver was defenseless catching a ball, the defensive back would come in and hit him in the head.
Right.
But they took that out of the game because of concussions, which was a good thing. But now instead of going for the head, everyone's going low. And so you're seeing injuries like Odell Beckham and those other guys where as soon as they land, the guy's coming at 20 miles an hour and diving right at their back of their knees, and blowing out knees and ankles. And I think that's the next step the NFL is going to make, and that'll probably help a little bit. But you still have this problem of bigger, faster guys hitting each other from more crazy different angles all over the field, and it's just a violent game.
Other than the rules, obviously, they changed with the center position, that they no longer have the head-on collision. Has it changed a lot in your position in terms of the head-on-head collisions at the line of impact?
Not really, because for linemen, there's really nothing you could really change. I mean, you're going to line up against each other and smash into each other every play. So there's not a whole lot of change you can make there. I think the only change they've made on the line in a few years is they don't allow, or they're more strict about the cut blocks from the offensive lineman, where a cut block is offensive lineman goes and dives at a defensive lineman's legs. They want to make sure that it's happening from in front of the defensive lineman now and not from the side. In the old days, they were much more lenient about diving at the side of knees and stuff like that, but now they'll throw that penalty flag.
But nothing for the head, though.
Nothing for the head. I mean, there's really nothing they can do other than if you took the helmet off, then guys wouldn't be hitting with their head. They'd be using their hands. It'd be more like rugby. But I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon.
You were really good at basketball.
I don't know if I would say
Your
really
wife
good. My wife played in college. Yeah, she played in college.
Shout out,
Look at
Yeah, I know you're excited about that.
Yeah.
No, I played high school and I was all state, but that's Wisconsin. So
still, Wisconsin is good. Best.
I mean, the college team is good, but in high school, it's like I was like a 12 points, 10 rebounds guy, 60
guys versus you.
4 fouls.
Dude, imagine
hard
I had
fouls.
Terrell
Hard
Suggs
fouls.
on my AAU team.
Suggs was on your AAU team.
Yes.
No
dude.
way. Are
So
you from
imagine-
Chicago?
No, I'm from Phoenix. He's from
Okay,
Phoenix.
so
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, so dude, listen, like whenever we had to play them, he was like, I got Channing. I was like, man, damn. Dude, he's like, back then he was a running back.
Oh my gosh.
So could you imagine him? Like, I remember we watched him play one time. He used to catch the kickoffs, and he literally stiff-armed this dude and concussed him off a stiff arm. Like, this dude came running, he just mushed him to the ground and bowled over everybody.
Oh
It was
my gosh.
It was amazing. Like, T. Suggs, if he's out there, dude, he's still a good dude. I saw him when we played D.C. the other night, and it was just like, dude, you're like 100 pounds bigger than what I thought you'd be. But no, it just playing against guys like you in high school. I was like, 6'8", barely 200 pounds, and you got me boxing out. Like, man, I can't do that with this.
Yeah, you don't want to go banging the boards.
No,
with Suggs.
I'm just gonna block. Yeah, I'm just gonna block you guys. But like, what's funny? And I was kind of thinking about it. In Cleveland, in Ohio, I'm on the Cavs, and we do pretty good for ourselves. But I'm going to tell you this. We're probably the third favorite team in Ohio. It does not matter.
Behind who?
Oh, number one, the Browns.
Yeah.
Literally the Browns. And then it's Ohio State. Right?
Yeah.
And then it's Ohio State.
Badger living in Buckeye Nation.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
You're right, though. It is totally a football town. And I think that's just like the makeup of the people that are here. Just that blue-collar mentality.
Joe, when you came on Cavs HQ last year, I think I mentioned to you that you had to come on Road Trippin', that we would have loved to have you on Road Trippin'. Ever since, of course. Awesome. But a lot has happened with you. Not to mention you started the first NFL podcast in NFL history with Joe Thomas.
That's right. Yeah.
How is
Quite an
that
honor.
going? Quite an honor. How is that going? Shout out because it is on iTunes. It is on Google Play.
You actually can get it on iTunes and other platforms that I'm not sure about, but they tell me that you can get it over there. I know I can get it in the podcast app. That's where I listen to my own podcast. But
see, that's where you're going wrong. You never listen to them. I have
Channing
yet to
doesn't
listen
listen
to
to
one.
Well, I only have 2, so
Okay, cool.
not a big sample size. But it was fun. I actually really enjoyed doing it. I enjoy the radio side of things because you don't have a camera there that gets
You can
guys.
wear whatever you want.
Exactly. I'm naked right now. You guys can't even tell. No, but I think when you bring a guest on, and especially we got a young team, so a lot of young guys aren't used to being in front of a camera. You put a camera in their face and they lock up. They don't want to talk.
Yep.
But you put a headphone on and they kind of forget that they're on the radio and they're talking, and it becomes just a conversation. And it was fun. We did David Njoku, the tight end from Miami, who's a rookie this year, the first podcast. Then we did Joel Bitonio last week, and then we were planning on doing Christian Kirksey this week. but I got sick and didn't think it would make for a good podcast if I was sneezing all over the place, and so we had to cancel that. So my NFL streak of 10,000 plus snaps and my podcast streak of two podcasts got broken this year, and it's very sad.
1,000 snaps, dude.
Well,
I can't even.
Isn't that crazy? I will tell you, we're jumping around a little bit, but I will tell you, I was watching that
This
game.
is the podcast. This is what we do.
You're right.
There are no rules.
Watching that game that you got injured, and I kid you not, it put in perspective. This sounds absolutely crazy, but when you have a streak going like that, the second you went off the field, it's like that streak's gone. You know, it's not a game per se. Like, will he be back for next week? It's that next moment. Did that cross your mind, like right away? Obviously, you're injured. But
no, it did. Obviously, there was a lot made out of the streak this season because we got to 10,000. But it's funny in football, when you are on the ground and trainers come out, you have to leave the game. So the second the trainers came on the field,
your streak was over, whether or not you were coming back.
Over. Whether I thought I got hurt and I really didn't, or like, you know, at that point I was really glad that I got hurt seriously and that it wasn't like he was crying wolf and we had to take him out of the game.
That would suck.
He just bruised his elbow and he'll be back there the next play. But no, I think it was one of those surreal moments when you're laying on the ground wondering, well, what happened to my elbow? But also like, wow, the 11 years that I put into this is over. Yeah, no problem.
No big
so that's
deal.
the plan. So 11 more years to get back there. It shouldn't be a problem.
Just chuck that.
Be 44.
Just one more.
At what point in the streak were you aware of it, and how difficult was it at the end of those December games? That where everybody's taking a time off and snap here or snap there. At what point were you aware that you have to keep that going?
I think it was around year 5 or 6 that I realized I had not missed any plays, or just noticed it because people started talking about it. And then it was year 9 and 10 where our media department started to follow the actual number of snaps and try to plan out when I would get to 10,000. And it was a little stressful towards the end of it, just because I was like, man, whatever you do, don't go down with like a crappy injury. That would be embarrassing to lose it now. But no, it was really cool.
So you have this podcast, the first NFL podcast in NFL history with Joe Thomas, iTunes and Google Play. And we talked a little bit before how it's associated with the Browns currently. But I didn't know if you were aware. If you weren't, Road Trippin is associated with a great company called Uninterrupted.
Oh, yes.
Who has actually reached out and would love to have you a part of their platform.
Oh, wow. Well, that's pretty awesome.
So,
A lot of free shit.
Yeah,
now we're talking. Here we go. Yes.
Obviously.
We've been begging for a sponsor for a long time.
All 2 podcasts.
Yes, for both of them, 2 weeks.
They continue. I'm sure you've seen a lot with them, just via social media and so forth, with athletes and led by LeBron James and those who they have with their company. They've just worked so well, and I think their podcast platform is expanding. And we mentioned that you would be our guest this week, and they would love to have you.
Oh,
on the
wow.
platform.
Well, that's really awesome.
That
I'm
would
pretty
be
excited.
amazing.
Yeah,
that's super
That'd be
awesome.
tight. Their connections are.
Yeah. So one of my teammates, Andrew Hawkins, he works for them with Maverick and those guys a little bit.
Of course.
And he's got me on Uninterrupted a couple times, just doing little selfie videos. And I've always enjoyed being on their social media page and reading the things that they put together, and it's pretty neat. So that's awesome, man. I'm really excited about that.
I think with Uninterrupted, I just love how they stand for what they say they are. You know, and this is an example of being able to do just that. But speaking of Hawk, he went to Toledo.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
you got that connection.
Toledo Torpedo?
Have you ever been to Toledo?
Believe it or not, my dad's side of the family is all from Toledo.
Shout out.
For like 15 years growing up, we would always come out to Toledo for a family reunion every July.
Oh, boy.
Toledo. I know.
Channing, we've talked about it a lot. Channing took a trip to Toledo for football.
I wasn't
this year,
ready.
actually.
I
The
wasn't
Glass
ready.
Bowl? Did you go to the Glass Bowl?
No, we didn't even make it inside.
Didn't make it inside.
We
You
didn't
saw
make it
You're like,
inside.
I'm good.
No. I saw it,
tailgated.
and then I was like, listen, somebody
won.
roofied me.
Channing 0. Speaking of that, though, my husband actually played college ball in Wisconsin Stevens Point.
Oh, sure.
And
Right in
he
the
told
middle.
me a story. After a couple of your first years in the league, the Browns were out of the playoffs, and he
Go
was
figure.
coaching.
Okay, wait. I don't know if you're sensitive about the Browns jokes.
I'm not.
Okay, good. Okay, here we go.
But you
storing those up.
He coached at Wisconsin Green Bay, and so the backyard of his home was Lambeau.
Oh yeah.
And they were tailgating for a Packer game, and he ran into you. Not ran into you per se, but you were at a tailgate similar, dressed in all camo, just throwing him back.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That was so long ago. I remember that.
You do?
Well, I've only went to like one Packer game in my life, so
Yeah. You said you were
I
dressed in all
definitely remember that. Yeah, it was a
camo.
cold game, but it was
Yeah.
fun. It was like my
Really?
first. Yeah, oh
Was
really?
it cold?
I know. January, it was cold in Green Bay.
Lambeau Field is
Yeah.
cold
Yeah,
and
it was
gross.
frozen tundra.
Gross.
I would not even play. Listen, my streak would be like four snaps. This is too cold. It's too cold. Nobody should play.
I was
like
actually going to ask you, since he was an all-state hooper,
Yeah.
could you play football? Did you play football?
Oh, listen, I was like so disgustingly skinny and like lanky that I was like, even my dad and them were like, well, maybe you should just go so you can lift with them, like do stuff like that. So I literally talked to
Toughen
the
him up.
football coach. Yeah, toughen him up. So I was like, hey, coach, do you mind if I come? He goes, Channing, don't even. No.
We don't need a pump.
We have nothing that fits you. Go over there, go play basketball. Just focus on that. So I said, I'm absolutely okay with that. And just started hooping. But no, they wouldn't let me. Everything I tried to do, they were like, go play basketball. I was in the band.
You were in the band?
Till ninth grade.
What
till
instrument?
freshman year.
The tuba.
I played the trumpet and the baritone.
Really? I was a baritone guy.
Were
Second
you?
chair.
Yeah,
2 out of 2. No big deal.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
But dude, yeah, and then finally, like, it was between still being in a band or like six period basketball, and the band coach was like, Channing. I was like, but coach, I might make first year. And it's like, he's like, Channing, no, this kid, like, I forgot the kid's name, but he was actually really good. And I was like really into it. He's like, Channing, go play basketball. I was like, okay, I'll go play. And so I started practicing and started like kind of loving basketball. It was like they made me. I gave up my love of music.
Have you ever, Channing, in your life, hunted?
Hunted?
Are you a hunter?
I'm a fisher.
You're a
but
fish-
I'm a big fishing guy. But I told everybody this. Here's my story. When I'm done playing, before I go on to the afterlife, I want to hunt
big
a
plans.
hog and eat it.
Oh.
A hog. Just
Hunt a hog? Do you hunt hogs?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Wild
Oh, yeah.
pigs.
Yeah.
What?
Yes, and they're big.
They're big.
Oh.
Rambo used to do that.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm not trying to go out there with no like 50 cal and coof. Yeah, like shoot this thing for real. Like I talked to Birdman when he was here.
Oh, yeah.
And Birdman was like, "Yeah, man, we're gonna get you down there." And I was like, Bird, I don't know if you're a little crazy for me, Bird. Like, why do you go with somebody that knows what they're doing? But before I go, once I retire, I'm come back. I'm gonna go in the woods. I'm gonna go with 3 or 4 people who know what the hell they're doing, and I'm gonna go out there and shoot this hog.
Joe, you know a little bit about hunting.
Yeah, I've shot some hogs. It's
You
fun.
shot hogs?
Oh yeah,
Are they
they're
stinky?
delicious. They are stinky.
Yeah.
I mean, they wallow in the mud.
Yes.
They are
I only know
pigs.
javelinas come from Phoenix. So
Yeah,
like,
javelinas are really stinky.
Yes.
They're like even worse than hogs. The javelinas,
Okay.
they smell like skunks.
Yes, they're
They're horrible.
disgusting.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Why do I feel like hunting a hog would be really easy?
It's
Not.
not.
Why?
They're very nocturnal,
Oh.
and especially if they've been hunted, they're very skittish. They're smart.
Really?
They're smarter animals, and so
I think
they'll.
a pig is smarter than a dog.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
I mean,
I want to have a pet pig when I grow up. A potbelly pig.
A potbelly.
Yeah, I'm like,
Potbelly.
dude, they're awesome. Somebody had one when I was growing up. That guy was awesome. Herb.
that's a perfect name. Perfect name.
What else do you hunt? You hunt duck?
I like duck hunting. Yeah,
Duck hunting.
Yeah. I like deer hunting and turkey hunting are kind of my 2
Turkeys
favorites.
are so ugly.
Yeah, they are ugly. But
I didn't
they
know what a
taste good.
turkey. Dude, they are delicious. They got a lot of tryptophan in them.
Yes,
you know,
they'll make you
that's-
take a good nap.
What's a good catch for you that you've had?
Turkey or
Deer.
Just deer?
Yeah.
A good deer?
That
Like this.
Yeah. And you like to fish?
Like to fish, yeah.
Like ocean fishing or like
Everything.
lakes? Okay.
Everything.
Okay. See, I'm
I
not
mean,
an ocean guy.
I haven't done a lot of ocean fishing because
Yeah, yeah.
I grew up in Wisconsin.
Oh,
I live in
obviously.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
But I like to bass fish. There's great smallmouth bass fishing on Lake Erie. There's great perch and walleye fishing. So
It's so cold out.
You do
Yeah,
ice
yeah.
fishing?
I've done some ice fishing. Yeah, ice fishing on Lake Erie even, which was
so
a little.
Is that literally where they drill the hole?
Sit there, you drink beer, and you fish, right?
Yeah, it's social. It's more about the drinking beer, and then you might catch a fish.
I
You
can do
can't
that.
really talk when you fish. You
Channing,
have
you
to
have to go in the frozen lake,
Lots of talking.
drill a hole,
What?
then sit there in the cold.
Yeah, but no. But then you have mad gear on, and you sit there and drink for hours, and you just gotta put the pole up.
You act like it's so easy. Hang on.
That's what you do. I've seen many of movies where they do it. It seems awesome.
Keyword movie.
Yes, you seem warm.
Wait, you can talk when you fish?
Yeah,
You have to
you're
be
not going to
quiet.
scare the fish.
Fish
You're
don't.
confusing fishing and hunting.
No, I've never been hunting. But no, maybe it's just you have to make sure the motor of the boat.
Well, yeah, you don't want to be like doing donuts over the fish. They're going to hear that. But if you're just sitting there having a conversation, they're not.
Ellie, you know fish don't have ears.
That's a lie. They can hear.
No, they see things. They don't have ears, Ellie.
But
It's sonar in their head. I'm totally joking. I want to see if you believe it. I can't even lie
I
that good.
can't either. I know. I'm like, oh my god. Okay. It's so embarrassing.
Allie was really.
Allie's
about
a
to
big outdoors woman. You can tell.
Yeah. Oh man.
Well,
She's wearing a
kind
flannel
of.
just for you.
Thank you.
No, because it's cold.
That too. Yeah.
No, I shared that story where my family goes to Canada and they bring back all those bluegill that you told me was illegal.
Bluegill.
The amount that they brought back.
Well, yeah,
they go
it was your
bluegill
amount
fishing.
that I was questioning.
Yeah, it's like 2,500.
Yeah.
bluegill.
Seems like
What
seems high. Seems a
What
little high.
What are you fishing with? Dynamite?
between 7 of them for a week.
What? 2,500? What are you fishing with? Corn?
That's all they do.
Still seems high.
Does it?
2,500?
Does it seem?
I mean,
high?
I'd love to go with them. It sounds like a blast.
You should. First
What
week
do
of
you
June.
do? That's not even fun. I stock up.
In
I have
Canada.
a pond in Portland where I lived during the summer, and I stock it with 11, 12-inch trout.
Yeah.
And my kids go out there and they fish with like worm, and these are asexual fish, so like the trout get big. And dude, the minute you throw it out there and it reaches a certain temp, it's like these things are smacking it. So I could imagine 2,500.
They go out like 5 a.m. to like 10.
Yes.
Then they come back. They do the whole process. They clean them. And then my dad,
There's
for
so many
instance,
bones
will
in
come home with
bluegill, though.
freezer
No,
bags.
there's not too many bones in bluegill. You can cut around them real easy.
Oh man.
Yeah,
I think
bluegill's not
My
bad.
parents are just lazy about it. They're always getting bones.
Maybe they're just cooking them whole. Like if you cook them whole, then
Yeah, see, there
obviously
we go. Yeah,
you got
yeah,
lots
yeah,
of
there we
bones,
go.
but-
Sounds like a problem.
Allie, bluegill's good though.
Bluegill is delicious. It's actually maybe even better than perch. I don't know if you guys like to eat perch up here. You know, Fridays in Lent. It's big around Cleveland. You go get your fish fry. Get your perch fry.
From fish to barbecue.
Oh, now we're talking.
Mission,
Yeah.
right?
Mission Barbecue.
Mission
that at?
barbecue.
The good restaurant in Parma and Canton.
Ooh,
You know, you got to get me in with the Cavs. We can cater your after game meals.
Ooh,
Yeah, you guys would love it.
And our flight meals.
Yeah, sure. Whatever you guys want.
flight
We got lots
meals.
of food.
I know, but we have like so many vegan. We have so many. How about this? Cater my food. How about that?
I would like that better
Oh,
than
vegans.
some of the Chick-fil-A we get sometimes.
Chick-fil-A barf.
Oh,
Just
I'm
kidding.
A
I
big,
love you, Chick-fil-A.
I love Chick-fil-A.
I'm a big Chick-fil-A person, yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I love it, except that
It's
like in
a
Atlanta,
lot. Yes.
I usually go in the gym before the game. So
Yeah.
when I get pre-game, I like to have a healthy meal.
Yeah.
And we get to the media dining in Atlanta, and all it is a box of cold Chick-fil-A sandwich.
Oh yeah, that's gross.
Like I don't mind Chick-fil-A, but when it's cold,
Yeah.
and it's just a cookie and a bag of chips, that's the media dining.
Oh,
You
dude.
should ask them for the Cobb salad at Chick-fil-A with like the avocado dressing.
Ooh,
Oh,
they never
it's
deal with
outstanding.
that.
First
Oh, it really is.
I've-
With
you are a
grilled
unique
chicken.
Man.
I
It's
can't,
unbelievable.
I can't go to Chick-fil-A and not get a spicy chicken sandwich.
Thank
I
you.
mean, they're,
Deluxe
they're
waffle
warm.
fries.
Yeah.
Hot.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
In Atlanta, in the media, and they like stacked against the wall, and they just give you a
they're
box.
Just like, here, these are
Oh.
leftovers. That's grossy.
I crushed those boxes.
You were eating it in the plane on the way back.
Angry. Yeah.
Disgusting.
So what do you guys cater after games? I'm really interested. If you guys have a lot of vegans, like how do you replenish
Dude,
your
actually,
proteins?
Like Derek Millender, so those guys eat like crazy. So they eat all type of like beans and oatmeal, and they have their stuff dialed in. And then most of the time we eat pretty healthy. Like
It's
yesterday,
catered
we had,
from
like,
in-house.
Yeah, the in-house stuff
After
in
game.
Cleveland is really, really good. Like,
Yeah.
Shout out Merrimack.
dude, yeah, I'm a big barbecue guy during the summer but I can't. Like, the hardest thing I've ever tried to cook was a brisket, and I absolutely ruined it.
Oh, really?
It was like, I was like doing the YouTube thing, like, oh, yeah.
You're like, oh, this is going to be awesome. I can't wait.
Awesome. Can't wait. And
call the neighbors over.
It looked like a crusty turd when it was done. I was like, this is too bad. Give me a pork butt. I put it on the Traeger. Some ribs. I'm good.
You're a grill master. You like to grill,
I don't know
right?
about that. I'm jealous that you've got a Traeger because I've never gotten that far, but I like doing steaks and chickens and pork tenderloins and stuff and lamb chops on the grill. But I'm not good at like the smoking and like the long stuff. I haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah.
Because that takes a long time. You got to have that right temperature and the right smoke for a long time.
Dude, my buddy Joe Williams, he actually works for Fox, I think, still in L.A. And then he's the one that got me into like ribs and stuff like that. So like, and then everyone like, when dude, ribs are so good. Man.
Ribs.
Yeah, but
Tell
then,
me more.
But during the summer, it's like, well, okay, I still got to try to stay skinny, but what can I eat a lot? Oh, protein.
Protein,
yes.
that's right.
Just so,
keep the carbs
just sitting
out
out there, watch the family in the pool. I sit, plays music, sit by the grill, have a few adult beverages, talk some shit, play some cards, and then just make sure like I got like a regular grill, almost like a green egg type thing, and I got my Traeger. So like I'll put it on the Traeger first and then put it on the grill and just let it sit there for like 6-7 hours. Oh man, so good.
Go on.
No, what's your rib secret?
It's not really a secret, but it's more like I like to let my ribs sit overnight. I'll
cook overnight, or
no,
before
like,
you cook
before I cook them,
like marinate them.
Yeah. Keep the seasoning on them, and then do that. And like my steak, like I like skirt steak because it's like easy to make like tacos and stuff like that. But I put it right on the coals. Oh. Yeah, so I don't put it on the grill. I put it right on the coals. And then wrap it in
touching the coals.
Yeah, like touching the coals. Yeah.
I've never made that before.
Yeah, so it's like
that.
the coals. Yeah. So you take a stir steak, you like season it up, you let it sit out for an hour until it starts to sweat.
Yeah.
And then you throw it right on the grill, right? For like, however you want, medium, rare, medium, whatever. And then you could tell, and then you wrap it up for a certain amount of time, and it still continues to cook. And then if you want like the grill marks, you want to get fancy, then you throw it on the grill then you chop that up.
I'm taking notes over here.
Right.
Say that again?
Yeah, dude. Just go to YouTube, be like skirt steak right on the thing.
Do you grill at Mission Barbecue?
So Mission Barbecue, everything is cooked in these giant smokers they have in the back. It's all overnight. They cook with red oak logs.
Yeah.
And it's each machine is like $250,000, and there's 2 of them in each store. Right, and it's got a rotating rack that like they put like
everything.
20 ribs on. And the next rack is like 20 briskets, and the next rack is like 100 chickens, and then it just cooks, however long. Like the brisket's like 18 hours, I think, and the ribs are like 12 hours.
It's called
Mission Barbecue, over in
check it out.
Yeah, so it gets that beautiful smoke flavor, and it's perfectly temperature controlled. It's kind of like a Traeger.
Yeah. What kind of sides y'all got?
So the sides are amazing. Yeah. So our baked beans, we put the brisket trimmings in there
to
give it like that little extra deliciousness.
Okay.
And the green beans, we put bacon.
Of course,
chunks in there, which is amazing.
Perfect.
And then we got really good cornbread and French fries and
mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese is awesome. We put like these little crumbly crispies on top of the mac and cheese. That just gives it a nice crusty texture on top.
So what made you be like, listen, I love this so much, I'm gonna buy a restaurant?
So I just totally stumbled into it. When I was a rookie in the NFL, I signed with Under Armour.
Right.
And the guy that signed me was from Wisconsin.
Right.
And him and I just became friends. And then after about 5 years, he cashed in his chips at Under Armour.
Right.
And then just retired. He was just living on Easy Street.
Right.
But he always had this passion for barbecue, and he knew he wanted to do something. He was a young guy. So he met a former executive at Outback, and they came up with this idea.
Bloomin' onions.
Yeah. They came up with this whole idea for a fast casual barbecue joint because they didn't think there was really anything like that out there.
Yeah.
And so about 4 or 5 years ago, they started the first store in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And he'd always been telling me, hey, when I open this restaurant, I would love you to be a partner.
Yeah.
And my dad was in finance, and he did restaurants and stuff. And he always said, whatever you do, if you make money in the NFL, don't invest in a bar or a restaurant.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like everyone loses money.
Yeah.
So the whole time I'm in the back of my head, like I'm doing exactly what my dad said don't do. I'm investing in a restaurant. But it's been a lot of fun, and I've been able to eat a lot of good barbecue. So even if we don't ever make any money, I'm still really happy.
Yeah, you get to free food.
Free food.
Would that be your go-to genre of food? Barbecue? Is that your favorite?
I would say I love food. So 3. So the one thing I can never turn down is pizza.
Okay.
I think that's kind of universal. The one genre I would eat every day, every meal for the rest of my life is Mexican food.
All right.
And then
burritos for life, dog. You can wrap anything in a tortilla and it's delicious.
It totally is.
See?
That is so correct.
See?
I
You
said that actually.
that.
Oh,
You stole it from me.
No, that's my mantra.
Tell me, what did you say? Tell me one thing that, or if someone can tell me what cannot be wrapped in a tortilla. Or something like that. You said it on Cavs HQ.
I don't think anybody came up with something you can't put in a tortilla and make it better. Tortilla just makes it mobile.
Yeah.
It's the delivery device. It just makes it clean and mobile, and so you don't have to use utensils.
Exactly.
Okay, and 3 is what?
Barbecue. But,
barbecue,
barbecue's not good for breakfast.
No.
Sometimes you're not feeling it for lunch, but like for dinner.
But sometimes, like, small barbecue. I've had some really good brisket and eggs.
I could do that.
Brisket, but like
Brisket and
put
eggs.
brisket, eggs, but like in a hash brown, and you wrap it in a tortilla.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Boom. So you're putting all 3 together.
Boom!
What kind of tortilla?
Oh my God!
So that's the real
Wheat?
question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously.
Like a regular flour.
No, like flour or corn.
oh, flour,
Flour or corn.
flour. Yeah. You can't have like the corn tortilla is more for like fish.
Cold or warm?
Oh, warm. You got to throw it
Yeah.
on the
You
burner.
gotta-
directly on the burner until it gets one bubble, and then flip it until it gets that bubble goes up, and then that's good.
It's a crime against humanity to not heat up your tortilla before you
Oh God.
put your stuff in.
So when you're talking tortilla, you're talking wrap,
Yeah, like
not thick tortilla.
no. Like
You gotta
the
come
thin.
to my mom's home and try the thick tortilla.
The thick tortillas?
thick one.
Yeah, listen,
Like
we just got the
flour,
regular.
but thick.
We got the white people tortillas. Yeah, we got the white people.
Because we have our version of tortillas, which is used like a bread.
Yeah.
Instead of like a loaf of bread, we
Yeah.
just use the
Oh,
tortilla.
and then you just
cut
break it
and
off
then
and
you
eat it.
eat it with
Okay, yeah.
whatever
I've done
you're
that.
eating, either meat
Yeah.
or rice, whatever you're
Yeah.
eating. It's kind of like a side.
Yeah.
Like a
That's
side
good.
scoop. Yeah.
I
That
mean,
sounds
tortilla is
delicious.
tasty. A flour
delicious.
tortilla is really tasty.
Yeah.
Um,
Man,
for
lot of
those
food
who, a lot of food talk and number talk, because I want to go to the next 1, 2, 3 that you have out there in this world.
Oh, man.
I'm
This
just going to
one's
go on record
chapping
and
my
say
butt
that
for
you're
a
one of
while.
the most fun guys to follow on social media, on Twitter.
Thank you.
So if you're not following Joe Thomas, it's at Joe Thomas 73.
Oh, thanks for the pub.
Anytime.
I'm a follower right now.
I follow
it.
already.
And 4 days ago, it's your pinned tweet right now. You said things I hate in this world in order are number 1, losing. Okay, obvious. 2, I told this to Channing and he was like, "What? Drapes." Explain.
I'm having a hard time talking about it. I'm sweating over here.
Oh, is that? I thought it was just me. Dude, I'm so sweaty.
That's
Dude,
because you have 5 layers on.
so
is
we're,
true.
we're remodeling our house in Wisconsin right now, and there's no drapes on the windows in the main level.
Oh.
So the decorator's like coming in, let's put drapes up here. We got these big, beautiful windows. Has a gorgeous view with the sunlight coming in. And we're going to spend, $2,000 to cover up the sunlight and make the whole place look like a cave. I just can't stand it. I think they're old. I think they're ugly.
And at
They
the
block
hotel,
the
they're
light.
full of dust. too.
Yes, they're full of dust. They're unsanitary. There's nothing I like about drapes.
Oh, man.
Sometimes they can give a room or a place some character.
Well, see, that's what they kept arguing. Like, oh, it gives it softness that you need and a little character, and I'm not buying it.
Not gonna lie, I
You're not
can't
right.
live without drapes. I don't want no sunlight.
Well, like in your room is different.
Oh, in my room,
But I'm
yeah,
saying
yeah.
like your main living area.
oh
your
no,
kitchen and, like,
no.
Blocks the sun and the view too.
Right.
Yeah,
I
listen,
mean, drapes are old-fashioned. I don't like it.
I can't argue with
it's
this.
like wallpaper.
Yes, it's like wallpaper, but worse. Like at least wallpaper is just ugly mostly. This is like ugly, and it takes away your sunlight and makes you feel like you're in a cave.
Yeah.
And it's a hassle to open and close it.
And they're expensive.
Oh
my God.
Drape people are like, got him.
Got them. You can get a T-shirt for $1.
Yes.
That same T-shirt on the wall is $2,000. It doesn't make any sense.
Number 3 on your list is live photo on iPhone.
Have
you had issues?
I get so frustrated because I do all the things they're telling me to do, and then every time I pull up my phone, I shouldn't say every time, but every so now often, I go to take a picture and the live photo's back. I turned you off already.
But the worst part about it is that you realize it was on when you go check the picture that you took.
Well,
it like moves a little bit.
Yeah, the worst part is, and it's not a big deal, like if you're just taking pictures for yourself, but if you're trying to send pictures to somebody,
oh, dude,
you know, like let's say I'm naked in my bathroom and I'm taking a picture of something, and then all of a sudden, you know, I mistakenly pointed in a different direction.
Man.
Now the person I sent my photo to's got, you know, blackmail forever on me.
I wasn't sure where you were going with that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But there's
like
supposedly,
this guy.
you know,
Like
on an iPhone, there's supposedly like a trick to turn it off forever, and I've done that, and for some reason my phone must have a bug or a glitch where it doesn't work. And I've updated. I've done literally everything, and I'm happy to say that it's not just me, because there's people that like message me and like, I have the same problem too. I don't know what's going on. So if anybody's listening from Apple, fix that glitch in my phone, or I'm going to be mad.
He does not look. He looks like he has a bad temper, guys.
Do you have a bad temper?
He plays football.
I don't think he has a bad temper.
Controlled
He's from
violence in
Wisconsin.
football.
Yeah. See, right?
Yeah.
He's from Wisconsin.
I haven't lost my temper in a while.
Is there?
Wisconsin.
This is here. Here's a serious question. Like before the game, we're jumping all over the place again. Before the game, when you're like, are you like, I absolutely hate the guy that I'm going against? Or are you more like, this is business, this is my job, let's get this done?
He's
are
from
you like,
Wisconsin.
But in his case, it's different because his job is to protect.
So yeah, but you gotta hate that dude in front of you. You gotta be like, man, I'm gonna F this dude up today.
Well, Joe's here, so
Yeah, well,
what is it?
I'll feel free to chime in on Joe's thoughts. No, I think early on in your football career, high school, college, even your first few years in the NFL, you like got your mind into that mindset that I'm going to kill this guy. I hate this guy. I hate everything about him.
Yeah.
You know, you want
got
to kill
throw
him.
on that Metallica. And
Yeah,
let's go.
And then after a while, you realize that as you get older, you know, into your 30s, you're like, man, that takes a lot of energy.
Yeah,
Like, get
so
mad
much.
and pumped up.
So much.
So my
I get
last
so sleepy.
like 6 or 7 years, I don't even listen to music. I just sit there and I'm like, all right, when is this game coming?
Yeah.
You know, because it just becomes like your routine. You become like a robot. You get on the field, you do your job, you get off the field, you're just a normal person. There's no emotion involved whatsoever. Because if you follow the highs and the lows of the game, you just get burned out, and then you make mistakes. And I think just having that even temper and even keel the whole game is probably the best for an offensive player. That's the best way to play, because you always have to be in control and in balance. Now, defense, those guys got to run around with their hair on fire. It's a little different ball game on defense, but offense, I got to be controlled and always easy in the moment.
Go ahead.
You mentioned earlier, obviously, that the Browns are young. You guys are a young team, so you got young guys. Makes me think of Richard being with the Nuggets right now.
I talked to him yesterday.
Very young team as well. What's been the biggest shock for you, being a veteran on a young squad?
Man, it's funny. So when I was in high school, we didn't have cell phones, and when I was 33.
Oh, man, what's up?
So when I was in college, my sophomore year, Facebook came out.
Yep. Remember AIM?
Yes.
Dude, the sidekick.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
the sidekick was like amazing.
Oh, it was the best.
And like when I was in college, it was 10 cents to text somebody.
Oh, yeah.
And like a cent to receive it. So you didn't like do that.
Yeah.
So by the time I got married and got in the NFL, I was like beyond all that stuff. So all of this social media and the texting and like the dating apps and all this stuff is all new to me. And like all these young guys are all into it. And it's like speaking a different language.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's just incredible, like how different that generation is. And we're only, 10 years apart.
Do you have fun with it, or do you just not pay attention to it? Do you?
Some of it I don't understand. Some of it I don't pay attention to. And some of it I like to tease them about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's what I was.
So we actually, it's funny. I just thought of an anecdote. So when we go out to dinner, I made a rule with the O-line. I said the first person that pulls out your phone at dinner has to pay for dinner.
Oh,
because otherwise, if you don't do that, the whole dinner everyone's just sitting in their phone like this, and you're not even talking. So I said, okay, the first person that pulls out their phone, you got to pay for it.
Yeah.
So
dude.
it was really fun, and then now it keeps everybody engaged, keeps everybody talking and having fun. And the reason we went out to dinner, I could sit at home and eat dinner and text you guys.
Yeah, true.
Oh my God, that's such a good idea.
Honestly, like, we would do that, but I've been to a dinner where a teammate literally brought an iPad and watched the movie. but like for us, we're around each other a lot. Yeah. Like a lot. It's almost a disgusting amount.
Yeah.
And so sometimes we're like, well, I get it. You just want to be here, but you don't want to be here. We get it. But like, that's a great idea. I don't know if that would work for us because.
Well, you have such a great point, because when you guys go on road trip, your longest road trips are two days.
We have 10 road trips a year.
Okay.
And
Saturday to Sunday.
We leave Saturday afternoon, 2
Yeah.
o'clock,
Yeah.
and we're home Sunday within a couple hours after the
Except
game.
when you go to the West Coast, right? You go
West
Friday.
Coast, we'll leave Friday, and then we'll be back Sunday night or
my
early
God.
Monday morning, and that's it. And that's maybe once every couple years we play West Coast. So there's really not a lot of travel. I mean, we're together in the locker room, but every night you're going home at 6 or 7. And
How
there's
many
just
hours
not-
do you have to like watch film? Because I know a bunch of football players, and I was like, God, well, don't your eyes hurt from just like 4 hours?
It's a lot of prep. I mean, when I was playing,
Yeah.
now that I'm
Literally like a month ago.
Wednesday was like 4 or 5 hours as a unit, and
Yeah.
then you'd do 1 or 2 by yourself. Same thing on Thursday.
So you guys sit there in this room for 4 or 5 hours.
Meetings usually start about 8, and we have meetings straight through till practice, which is like 1.
What?
And usually the whole time it's watching film.
I quit. I quit. What?
You get mad when Kyle Korver watches film on the plane.
Yeah, because I'd be like, and Kyle, I'm like looking, but I'm not. And Kyle's like, hey, Jenny, look at this. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Okay, great.
But like Kyle and I, we have a great relationship. So
Yeah.
most of the time I'm cool with it. And we just watch our minutes. But and most of the time we might watch another team, but we really don't. Like, because really it's about us. And like basketball is very different, especially in our group.
Well, I'm really curious to
Yeah.
hear about your film study, though. I don't mean to cut you off.
No,
I want to keep going. Keep going. I want to know
So
about it.
like, what Kyle and I look is like basketball is very simple. There's like you could switch, you could show, or you could double team. So we have to just see. Okay, when it's more reactionary. It's like when they do this, we do that. When they do this, we'll try this. Can you see this? Should we do this? Like it's technique, but you guys have to see like tendencies,
Coverage.
like different coverages, and you watch a lot more. It seems like you watch a lot more of the defenses, where we watch like ourselves, because there's only so many things any defense can do. So it's like we play so many games. It's like 82 games. It's like, okay, you're not showing us nothing we haven't seen. Now, mind you, I've been in League 13. He's been in 16.
And not only that, these guys have so many plays with so many names and codes and
our
everything.
second unit
especially
runs.
for-
We run about 3-4 plays, and that's how we like it. We run like 1, 2, 3. It doesn't work, though. It's a D Wade, and start running around like you're crazy.
That's fascinating. My
let me
illustrious high school career, we watched a little bit of film, but
Yeah,
that was VHS, and it was like you get
yeah.
nothing out of it.
No.
So I was wondering if it was any different. At the
No,
pro level.
it definitely is. Now,
No, these guys got
like
iPads
LeBron,
and-
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You can see your minutes, your shots.
They get
like,
just their plays.
Last
Yeah.
year, I haven't seen it a lot this year, but last year there were moments where Braun would have one of the coaches would bring during the game plays that happened in that game. Say it happened in the first quarter,
Yeah.
they would bring him an iPad out to
a
show
lot of
him
young guys
clips.
do that. A lot of young
On
guys
the
do
bench.
that. Yeah, so you could see
Yeah.
like the first 6 minutes. A lot of, I'm not going to say the teams that do it, but you know the teams that do it will run a certain set of plays. I think you guys do that in football. Like, will somebody like your first?
Yeah, we're not allowed video. They can take a
These
picture.
got pictures.
Picture
These guys get
before the
Yeah.
snap. and then
Polaroids,
after the
basically.
Like
snap.
they'll be like there are certain teams that'll run like, okay, we're going to run plays 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up and down the court. So then we see how they run screen and roll with you, how they're guarding you in the post, how they're playing you 1-on-1, where the rotations are coming from. And then when you come out and sit down, you can see those on the iPad and be like, okay, I'm going to attack this. We need to adjust this. And most of the time, it's like your main player. You're like during the playoffs, if somebody's throwing something new at us, like if they're double teamed from a certain place, like big fella will like look and be like, okay, Channing, I'm going to need you to stand there instead of this guy, because then they'll have to help from this angle, and I could see this and throw that. And it's like his mind's a little different than everyone else's, and he's a little different than everybody because he's 6'9". But, like, it's amazing to see how quickly, like, anything that happens, they could right on the iPad and be like, oh, man, I should have. They're forcing me this way, or they're forcing me this way. So it's like constantly adjusting. Yeah.
Not to beat the dead horse, but this
No.
is really fascinating for me. How much self-scout and analytics do you use with your own stuff? Like, do you see this shot over here? That's, you're not a really good shooter from this spot, so you should have taken an extra 2 dribbles and taken a shot from this angle. You're better from here, or you're not good from there.
Well, I think it's more like, honestly, I'm on the left side of the floor 99% of the time. So when I'm on the other side of the floor, it's more I'm just not really over there that much. Most of the time I have the big guy guarding me, and Braun likes to throw the ball with his right hand or either hand actually. So he likes to see.
Don't give anything away.
No, oh God,
no. But to your point,
16 years later, they didn't know that.
But to your point, it's very analytical.
Yeah,
they
that's
have
what I'm
shot
curious
charts.
Right,
You
exactly.
can tell what percentage they're shooting from this corner, from this side, from outside, from the paint. I mean, it's very analytical.
So do you ever look at that and go, well, I'm not shooting well from here, so I better keep shooting from over here to get my average back up? Or I'm like, I better avoid that spot.
No. I'm shooting from the same spot all the time. Like, it's more of our system and my relationships that we have with who I'm out there. Most of the time, I'm like, if you see me, I'm running on the same side Kyle's going, unless like JR's hot. And JR likes to come off the opposite way. So it's all depending on like where Kyle is, where D Wade is, who likes to shoot where. And then for me, I'm kind of like, let me stand, because I have the biggest guy on me, let me stand as far away from the guy with the ball as possible so that they can see that big guy. And most of the time, he's not going to leave, or else I'm at to dot his eyeball. I haven't dotted an eyeball in a long time. But
So the big thing in football is you always want to take away the strengths and the tendencies of your opponent, right?
Right.
So is it like that in basketball where everybody knows what your tendencies are and they try to take it away? So
Yes.
you go in the game going, all right, we're going to fake like we're going to our tendency, and then we're going to throw it over here because we know they're going to rotate or do whatever to try to take away our strengths.
We just beat a dead horse. Like, literally, they're like, Channing's going to shoot. And I'm like, yes, I am. And it's a little different on this team because we have so many weapons and guys that are like vets.
How do you take away all of them?
You can't. I mean, even last night, you look at like
poison.
Jose Calderon.
Right.
Yeah, they picked their poison. Like, they're like, we have to go underneath Jose Calderon, who's shooting 45% from three, and we're going to take our chances with him, or else it's like, you don't want JR to get hot.
Yeah.
They left.
Kyle,
they put
did a good job with Kyle.
Yeah, they did a good job with Kyle, but then it's like Jose gets hot, JR gets hot, Kevin gets hot. Braun, does Braun.
Braun is hot.
Yeah, and then Jay Crowder makes some big shots. And then I don't know how many Jeff Green got beat up last night.
Oh,
he got
did.
really
I told
That
Jeff
end of the
after the
first
game.
Never seen him
The end of the
so
first
bad
half when he
in
got
my
run over?
life. Yeah.
I told him at the end of the game, you know when Jeff Green is pissed now because his vein in the right side of his head.
Jeff is the most mild man.
He doesn't
Pops
say
out.
anything.
No.
doesn't.
And that's the problem. When Jeff doesn't give you like a kind of cheeky smile, I'm like, oh, shit.
There we go.
Yeah. Listen, because most of us are pretty mild. Like, during the regular season, we play so many games. It's like you can't get angry at everything. So.
Right. You get worn out. If you get so emotional.
Yeah, but he got banged
exhausting.
up last night.
Yeah, he was getting beat
At
up.
the end of the first half, he got run over, and there was no call. And you can tell when he's pissed because he just like shakes his head.
Oh man, yeah. But
And
it happens. It's good to see that emotion from him. It happens once a month, once a week. That's pretty good. I can't wait to see Kyle angry.
In New York, Madison Square Garden.
Was he?
Remember at the Wine and Gold event, Kyle compared cussing to dunking. So Kyle tries to get one dunk a year. He doesn't dunk, obviously.
So they will give him layups.
So,
they give him layups because they don't want him to shoot.
His goal is one dunk a year, and we had a Wine and Gold event, and he said that he likes to think of cussing as he does dunking. He doesn't.
Once a year.
He doesn't want to cuss unless he really has to. So he really brings it out. So in Madison Square Garden, he missed 3 straight threes.
Yeah,
he came
he
into
was
a huddle,
hot.
and whoo, he was hot.
Yeah,
And I
but
was
when
like,
he
yep.
cusses, it's like flipping sugar.
Bless his little heart.
Yeah, bless his heart. But dude, it's just amazing. The personalities on our team are absolutely hilarious, man. Like, it's like, and then you're just around people more and more, and then you start to see how they all like mesh and mold, and oh man, dude, it's gonna be interesting. We're only 20. What game is that?
27, 28?
9 now.
29.
29. Oh man,
Don't think about it.
53 left.
I have a couple more things to get to, but I do want to give it.
Oh, dude.
Oh, God,
we're
this is
never on
literally what
time.
we do.
Yeah, this is what we do.
Could you imagine drinking?
Wow.
Yeah.
This would be a 2-hour show.
But I do want to give a shout out because there's a little draft coming in the door as people are walking in. We are at the Homage location, one of our partners, of course, with Road Tripping here at Crocker Park. And we can't thank them enough for opening their doors early, allowing us to come in here and podcast with, of course, Joe Thomas. But to Jillian, Brian, Cameron, Courtney, store manager, it is her birthday today. Give her a shout out. And Dan, Elliot, we just want to thank Homage for allowing us to be in this space today, as we do see a lot of fans
Someone just took a
standing
video of my truck.
around.
Is
Are you
that
scared?
yours right out
Yeah,
there?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
nice.
Thank
I bet
you,
that goes
dog.
fast.
Listen, it does. Not in the snow, though.
No, you need some
no.
more aggressive tires, I think.
Yeah, they were aggressive at the beginning, but I drive an hour every day.
Where do you?
All
right.
It's
West side or east side?
West side. No.
Okay.
Oh yeah. What do you think we're here?
Yeah. I was
Because
happy.
homage is amazing.
True. And I live 5 minutes that way.
Joe, something that's been kind of fun. I assume it's because you got a lot more time on your hands.
I do.
How much do you enjoy doing the weather reports?
It's fun. It really is, and especially when we have some inclement weather, like we usually do this time of year in Cleveland.
Last week
It's
was
fun.
fat guy weather.
Yeah.
Fat guy weather, right?
Yeah, it was cold. I didn't sweat.
Do you sweat doing those?
A bit.
Yeah.
You know,
do you come up with all your content, everything you say?
I know it's hard to believe, but I do. It's all in my brain. No, it's been a lot of fun. It's like a minute on camera before the game on the field, and it's been a lot of fun. I don't know how long it's going to go on, but hopefully we get some really snowy games towards the end of the year, and we can have some fun with it. Maybe throw some snowballs, make some snowmen.
Oh, that's fun.
No.
You gotta have Channing and ask him. I forget the name of the segment you have where you just ask questions like rapid fire questions.
We do a show that's kind of a joke on the Browns website called the Joe Thomas Hour.
Yeah,
where I'll sit there and I'll just pepper you with questions for like 2 minutes.
Pepper it up.
Do you want to pepper right now?
I do usually have a couple questions ready. So.
Dude, please.
Oh,
here we go.
You guys,
here we go.
I'm usually
Can you do the intro so I can?
Cue the music so I can find my questions here.
What is your go-to music?
It's the Joe Thomas Hour on Road Trippin'.
That's right, the Joe Thomas Hour. So, who's the most famous person in your phone?
Oh, LeBron.
Okay. What's something you're bad at?
Finishing stories.
That's why you're a great podcaster.
Right, there we go.
All right, what's your favorite emoji?
Oh, the thumbs up.
Thumbs up? Okay.
What?
The most used?
Brown guy thumbs up.
All right, so this is one that I get mixed reactions, but when you were a kid, did you ever get in your parents' car and turn the car on, and all of a sudden there was something crazy on the radio?
Yeah.
What was it?
It was like, well, I wouldn't say crazy, but it was like this like Christian religious, but this guy was like, I don't want to say a zealot, but this guy was like so right field. I was like,
you were like,
what
are you
listening to? This is not Jesus.
So when I was a kid, I got in my car, and my dad's usually like a classic rock, country western guy, and he was listening to like Sade on like full blast.
First of all, Sade.
She's amazing,
Great. Amazing.
but it was so in left field. I was blown away.
Sade kills.
Yeah. All right. What's the best 80s band?
Oh, best 80s band?
Can you think of any?
The Bengals.
Yeah. Oh man,
B-52.
I'm not gonna say Prince, but I'm gonna say like his crew. Like God, who is
The Revolution.
Yes, Prince and the Revolution.
Perfect. Now, I don't know what the drug testing policy is in NBA. This is not a street drug question. This is a substances or performance-enhancing substances.
Right.
So I'm assuming you guys get tested.
Yeah.
Where's the craziest place you've ever been tested? Do people like show up at your door? Or do like show up?
Oh yeah.
Like, when you're working out somewhere?
So one time I was on vacation in Mexico, and literally they were just like. Well, no. They were like, where you at?
I need your pee.
No, they were like, they were like, where you at? And I was like, well, I'm in Mexico. And they were like, well, we just happen to have somebody down there in Cabo at the time.
Are you serious?
So yeah, I was like, all right, cool. What's up? So goes to the hotel.
Did you pass?
Yeah, always pass. Always pass. I'm not a big weed guy. Like I understand.
Oh, so it was a street drugs.
Yeah.
It wasn't
No.
steroid
They do
test.
that now. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm on steroids.
Man.
A lot of layers. Slender. This is like the new type. The yoga steroids.
Yes. I need some of
The
those.
Pilates body yoga
Some of those.
steroids.
All right, one more question. Actually, two more. If you could FaceTime with anybody in the world, living or dead, who would it be?
Is my FaceTime getting videoed?
What do you mean? Isn't
So
that
like
what FaceTime
Someone
is?
recording.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
recording
recording
it?
my conversation.
No.
with this person.
It's just you and that person just
Oh.
enjoying a conversation.
Oh man, dang. I'm be honest. I'm not a big FaceTime guy. I feel like.
All right, you call him on the phone. How about that?
Call him on the phone.
I know you're about my age, so we're not into the FaceTime.
No, I'm
just call him on the phone.
Just call me or text me.
All right, you can have lunch with anybody in the world.
Have lunch with anybody in the world. Honestly, it'd be Barack Obama. He seems cool as
awesome.
shit. Met him once. Give me a great hug.
Oh, that's right, because you guys won. And
Yeah. We did a little something, little this, little that.
You're like, hey man,
Joe,
can
when
you
you guys
number
win,
on my phone.
He's like,
just give me a call about that.
when you guys win, you can take a trip to the White House.
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yeah?
I'm ready for a Super Bowl. I'm ready for a playoff. Let's get there first. All right, last question. 3 words I want you to pronounce into your microphone right there.
Faux pas.
Beautiful.
Q.
Yes.
Asinine.
Oh my gosh, 3 for 3.
Are you kidding? They got a degree? Oh yeah, I forgot.
What was the first one?
Faux pas.
Faux pas.
Faux pas.
Faux pas.
Yeah.
Could you give us a good definition?
It's Toledo Torpedoes. We're not known for
Faux
their-
pas. Faux pas.
Yes. Or just use it in a sentence. That would be more fun.
That's a fashion faux pas.
That's perfect. That was well done. Nice
What do you
job.
got to say about that, Channing?
I don't know. You're the
I was
fashionista.
going to say my dog has 4 paws.
That's funny.
That is beautiful.
Oh, Lord.
Man.
All right. Well, I don't want to cut this, but Channing has a mandatory meeting to get to.
Do you want me to call time? I'll
No,
let
man,
him know.
listen, this is NBA. Even he's not showing up.
Oh, my word.
This is great, dude. We should
This
get you
is
on
great.
more.
I do have one final thing for you. Are you a part of any charities? Do you have any charities or?
Yeah, I
anything
like
that you're
getting involved with a lot of things. 2 that I'm passionate about is the Providence House in the Cleveland area, and then Shoes and Clothes for Kids, which is another Cleveland charity.
Shoes and
Awesome.
clothes for kids?
Yeah, so
Is there any kids that wear size 18?
I'm sure there's a few. There's probably not a lot.
No, but we can sell those and buy shoes, kids.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but
Kids'
no,
shoes.
they're like they're semi-worn shoes, so I don't know who would buy them. But, dude, if I give away
No,
clothes.
Wait.
it's a giveaway thing. So what it is it's basically a huge warehouse
Yeah.
for teachers to be able to come, and they get school supplies, school outfits,
damn.
all the stuff for the kids in the Cleveland school district that can't afford them or don't have those type of
Dude,
things, so
I
that they
would gladly
stock their
give you-
classroom with all that good stuff.
Dude,
Oh,
I'll
that's
gladly give you
amazing.
so much.
Yeah.
I give so much stuff to Goodwill. Like I literally, like a month ago, I had the back of my truck filled with like, mind you, it's stuff that fits me, but it's just like they're Nike stuff from like a year or 2 ago that like I've worn once or twice, and I'm like, okay, I gotta like keep getting them out of my closet.
You know how many things I take to Goodwill that says like Browns and my name like embroidered on it, but I just don't ever wear it. I'm like, what am I going to do with
Right,
it?
exactly.
So I can
Like,
imagine somebody
old
like going
team
through
stuff.
Goodwill and was like, Joe Thomas, 73 Browns and 3XL?
Oh, dude.
Huh, that's interesting. $2? What's going on with this guy?
Yeah.
You'd be surprised, though. I know you don't have the most,
What?
across the line size,
Oh yeah, but,
but
dude, I don't
you'd
care.
be
Like I'll
surprised
hook it up.
people that need. And
I'll hook it up with some kids.
You can
Yeah.
use,
Somebody get
you can use your stuff as blankets.
Cool with me. Leia, that sucker.
how do people get involved? How do they? Is there a website?
Yeah, so you can find them both online. We actually just did our Providence House event. It was called the Deck the House at the Brown Stadium last week. I was an honorary co-chair, and I did the emceeing with Andrea Vecchio that night, which was really fun. The Providence House is a cool location. Also, it's a place where kids can go when their parents are receiving like addiction treatment or temporary jail stays or something like that, so that the children don't have to go to foster care.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's
So they're able
awesome.
to stay in the Providence House,
That's
and the
awesome.
parents are able to see them while they're getting their life straightened out, and it's really impactful for children in this area.
That's
That's
tight.
amazing. That's awesome. Yeah.
You're a good dude.
I don't know about that, but I appreciate it.
You
I
are
play
a
one
good
on
dude.
podcasts.
And to
Don't we
our 6 million listeners and those who have jumped on board with the road tripping over the last year or so, we want to give a shout out to Joe Thomas. His first NFL podcast in NFL history with Joe Thomas can be found on iTunes and Google Play. So go give him a follow. We gave you a little glimpse of Joe if you don't know who he is off the field.
Yeah, Channing approves of Joe.
Channing approved.
Hopefully, the first victory for the Browns come
I'm
this
ready.
weekend
Sunday.
after being on road tripping, or maybe we want to save it to ruin the Steelers' home field
Oh.
advantage at the end of the season.
How about both?
There you go.
How about both?
That would be good, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And then, of course, again, a shout out to Homage for allowing us to be in here in this space
Homage.
today. homage.
That classic
Homage.
jacket is awesome, by the way.
Yeah, sick.
That's a nice looking
Classic
jacket. You got
jacket,
that here?
Yeah, right there.
That's awesome. Might pick one up on the way out.
Yeah, pick it up.
So yeah, for now,
Perfect.
that is another edition of Road Trippin'.
Perfect.
Richard versus Channing for Joe Thomas.
Team
Yeah.
Channing.
Channing
Joe
Frye,
T.
Rafa,
I'm about to
and
rock
myself.
some Browns gear now.
You
I
have
can't.
to.
I can't. I'm a Cardinals fan.
What are you about, a large, extra tall?
No, XLT, dog. You know what I'm
XLT,
saying?
oh,
Listen, I've
you're
been
bulking
slimming
up.
down. No,
Oh, slimming up. One
Slimming
way or the
down.
other.
Look. I told you that Pilates body's in right now.
That'll do it.
Hey, Road Trippin' fans, don't forget, we're working with a t-shirt company that you may have seen around. Homage. They're the ones that are responsible for LeBron's Ultimate Warrior shirt and many of the college designs you see on tees. As they pay homage to great moments in sports and inspiring stories, go check out their NBA Jam tees at homage.com. You're sure to be inspired, and we'll get a kick out of their special design for Richard and Channing, along with 3 other designs specific to the Road Trippin' fan. Get them while they're still in stock at homage.com.